Hey, what's up, guys? This is Cheese. Wanted to break down the Operation 5 PvE overview. TC released the PvE changes coming for Operation 5 Hollow Storm, and I wanted to give a full breakdown, my thoughts, my full reaction to the good, the bad, and the why. So let's go into it. First thing, I really like the image with Dizzy and Scourge, which we saw yesterday, but as it says, Operation 5 is almost here, so it's time to give an overview of some of the big updates and features coming November 17th. Operation 4, the team made major updates to rank and the store, with PvE getting a relative light touch. This all changes in Operation as PvE takes the spotlight. So, big thing we notice is the decoupling of characters and the classes, and you see the images here. I like the color coding here. This is pretty cool. Shows your support versus combat, more destruction, everything. This is a nice breakdown. So I'm assuming these will be the emblems for the characters. And as it says, as promised in Operation 4 PvE update, we have decoupled characters and classes. You can choose your class and then pick whatever character you want to play. You already see the Horde and escape lobbies full of Carmine squads. So now they allow, and here's a big one right here. We now allow you to play as duplicate classes and characters. So now everyone can be Marcus and the pilot class. So that means you can have 5 JDs, 5 Marcuses, you can even have 5 Dills, 5 Kates, whatever. This is a big change, and I knew as soon as I read this sentence that characters were going to be nerfed to compensate for this, and it was fulfilled once you start in getting into the balance updates. I am kind of mixed on this. I was mixed about decoupling the classes and the characters. I'm pretty mixed about the duplicate classes. I can see it going in numerous ways. I don't like the fact that some characters are going to get nerfed now because of it. It just is what it is. But let's get into it. I'm going to give a further breakdown. Operation 5 includes a significant balance update for all classes that includes tuning updates, 16 new skill cards. That's not something to be taken lightly. 16 new cards, new passives, some of these are really good, and more. And let's check out the patch notes. And then one last thing, Sam, Jin, and DB characters won't be playable in PvE until the next title update, which I'd assume probably will happen around the time the Hivebuster DLC comes out in December. Don't really understand why the DB characters aren't done. Just, I don't know. It is what it is. Maybe there's more to that. So, as you can see, here are what the classes are going to be called. Shows the previously. So you have Blade Master for Lonnie, Brawler for Coleslaw, Infiltrator for Kate, Demolitions for JD, Marksman Foz, so on and so forth. You can read all of these. I'm not going to get into all this and name it. But these are how they're going to obviously be identified in the lobby. Instead of seeing Lonnie, you're going to see Blade Master. Instead of Sarah, you're going to see Slugger. So we're going to have to get used to seeing these. And then, as I said, above the emblems are what you're going to see when you get in the lobby. This is a pretty cool change coming up. Last but not least, they've increased the max level for each class to 20, which we already knew with the update that got pushed few weeks ago and then got reversed. So any progress made with the previous corresponding character will be applied. And for the hotshots that reach level 20, this is something they talked about in the previous update. They now unlocked a specific weapon for the heroic Venom set, which kind of sucks considering Grace is going to have her own skin, meaning you're going to have to pay to finish the set. And I'm trying to think of which one she's going to be. I may look at this later on. I'm not sure her emblem because I don't have Grace. So she's going to have a weapon in here that you're not going to be able to get unless you buy her class. And this isn't the only heroic skin set you should expect. Re-up. Keep an eye out for more weapon sets and character skins coming later in Operation 5. Interesting little tidbit. So, now we get to some tuning updates for the decoupled classes. For Infiltrator, which used to be Kate, changed the Horde passive from nearby kills drop more power to exiting cloak by firing a ballistic weapon deals 10 times damage. Michael talked about this on the TACCOM stream that he was thinking about doing this, and wow, that's pretty interesting. I really like that. That's going to be great coming up on a boss or a Scion and blasting them with Overkill or a Nasher. And could be very useful in escape as well. Changed escape passive from every 6 execution drops ammo, which is worthless, to exiting cloak by firing ballistic weapon deals 10 times damage. So basically this applies in Horde and escape. Not really a big change there with that. I mean, you would figure it would be the same in both, but that's a pretty big deal. That's a big change. You went from an absolutely worthless passive to something that you can use strategically for a boss. Here's a big one. Added a 5-meter distance requirement for the laceration card. As you know, every shotgun pellet that hits an enemy causes bleed. And now there is a 5-meter distant requirement to it, meaning it can only really be used in short range now. And that's a pretty big nerf, meaning that you're not going to be able to snipe with an overkill and do damage from a distance. They want you to be close, up close and personal with Kate. Change the behavior of the Infiltrator's Reaper card from executing enemies grant stem to shotgun kills grant stem. That's pretty interesting change, meaning if you shotgunning everybody and you have Healing Jolt, her other card, meaning you can get health from picking up power, energy. So now you can be stemmed and full health all the time. So this kind of incorporates a more run and gun method versus sitting back and pounding with the overkill. Increased ultimate duration gained from Infiltrator's chain card from 2.6 to 5 seconds. Pretty much doubles the duration per kill. And then you read this. They changed the behavior of the chain card from kills during ultimate to executions during ultimate. And for those that don't know, whenever you activated her cloak, you could go around and press X to meat shield all enemies and immediately drop them. And you could just go from enemy to enemy doing this, and this would extend the duration of it pretty much the entire wave. Now you have to execute an enemy, which drags it out a few seconds. This is why they upped it to 5 seconds per execution to kind of compensate for that. So it's a little change in theory. Foz, this one right here was planned for a previous update, which they did not get out. They said they were saving it for Op 5 for this update. Reduced damage of Marksman's ambush card from 140% to 100%. So his first shot on enemies, I think, that have 90% health will do 40% less damage now. And then changed Marksman passive from every 6 critical kill drops ammo, which is worthless, to precision weapons penetrate through enemies. That's pretty beast. I really like this. This should be an interesting one with Foz, especially when enemies clump up together and you fire. This should be pretty good. Other than that, no real big changes to Foz. Foz is pretty in a really good spot. The ambush change would be interesting to see once people start doing the math and testing everything out. But I think this is a pretty standard change, I guess, is what I would say. Mac. I knew Mac was going to get a change. He's now Anchor. They added Harness Energy, which gives 6 stem per hit to the barrier to the entire team. If under 100% health, you gain 6 HP instead. This is at level 6. That's pretty neat. So if you know his barrier, you can increase the size, you can increase the duration. Every time the barrier's hit, everybody's going to get stem, which I don't know why you would be under max health hiding behind the barrier. So yeah, you're going to get stem. This is a pretty neat change. This adds more of a support to Mac. Added card Bullet Chain, which increases 50% damage per headshot kill to 200% for 15 seconds each. That's pretty interesting too, especially if you use his Bolt Talker and the Marksa. I think this would be really good in Escape. Increased bleeding damage of Bloody Shot from 65 to 80%. This was one of the previous changes that were going to come in the title update, similar to how Foz's was. Now it's going to be in the game. Same with this one. Increased damage multiplier of Adrenaline Junkie from 65 to 80. That's an Escape whenever he is in Venom. Change cooldown on kill perk to ammo regen perk. This will help. The cooldown on kill perk was one they added in Op 4. This will let you use his Boltox, since, as you know, you couldn't buy one from the fabricator. You couldn't put it in a weapon locker. Mac's biggest weapon is his Boltox with his bleed. Now you can regen shots with it. And also this bullet chain, I think that to go with this is going to be pretty beast. Change passive from taking damage recharges ultimate to anyone who fires through the barrier deals 50% extra damage. As I said before, Mac's becoming more of a support character. This is a nice change. So now you can use his barrier size, increase barrier size, and let a few teammates come in there and sit right there and pound right through it. So if you got Marcus, you got Foz, yes, they're going to do some damage with this. This is pretty beast. And that's a passive. That's not a card. So Keegan added card Discipline, which increases damage 6% each hit with ballistic weapons up to 100%. This is at level 6. I'm assuming each level is going to be a percent, probably. Or either 100%, maybe it'll go to half and then up sequentially to 100%. This is a pretty interesting card. I don't want to say I created a build. I've used a build with Keegan that goes mostly around his ultimate resupply. These cards they're adding are going to add more variety to Keegan himself, as he is more of a damage dealer and a support character, kind of a hybrid. Add a card Cooperation, which gives 30% additional damage to teammates attacking your marked target, level 6. This is pretty much called shot from Gears 4, where the sniper class could mark a target and all damage done to that was increased, provided the sniper marked them. And so you could tag this with, as you know, Keegan has a card that he can mark multiple targets. So now you can play that way if you want to. You can just sit around and mark targets, and all of them will take additional damage. Increase bleeding damage of Shredder from 25 to 30%. Thank goodness this is getting updated. I wish it was back to the original 50, but 30% is welcome, definitely welcome change. This one I do not like. Replace ammo capacity perk with max health perk. I do not like this. I really don't. Keegan was really good with ammo capacity. He could double his ammo, and this negates this. So instead of 6 boom, you're going to be stuck with the 3 boom. Any other weapon, you're going to be stuck with its default. Really, really do not like this change, as I felt that ammo capacity perk was a really good perk for him. But now it's going to be max health, which I really just don't use unless we just have an excess of power. Really not liking this one. Change passive from killing your marked target recharges ult for 5 seconds to anyone that kills your marked target recharges. Once again, pushing Keegan more and more towards support. Instead of him recharging his ultimate upon kill, anyone that kills him is going to recharge it. Although he has a perk that gives him cooldown on kill, so I guess this kind of negates this. At least in Horde, this changes it in Escape. Increase seconds of ultimate recharge gain from recharge bounty from 23 to 25. So now, as you know, anybody that kills his marked target, I guess will stack with this now. Instead of 23 seconds, goes to 25, and then you tack on this, which is going to give him 30 seconds charge. And Keegan now becomes, as his new title says, he's going to be a support character. So Baird, robotics expert. Added card Homebody, which gives 32% damage resistance within 10 meters from a power tap. This is pretty interesting, considering you should always have your base around a power tap. I feel like Baird could use some more damage dealt versus damage resistance. But this is pretty interesting. You should always be near a power tap, so I guess that's pretty good. I'm not really thrilled about it, but I guess it is what it is. Added perks for repair cost, repair speed, fortification damage, fortification health. Repair speed's really good. Repair cost is really good. Fortification damage, fortification health, I'm not really that big of a fan on it. I mean, fortification damage, I guess, is pretty good, but he already has a sentry perk. He gets extra damage. Fortification health is fine. But now you're going to see engineers spend more on them versus building the base, especially for these, and I could see this causing a problem early in matches. So now Lonnie. Added card Blade Dancer, which increases melee damage 50% per melee or bleed kill up to 200% for 15 seconds each. If you're noticing a trend, you're noticing that Scorpio Squad are getting some big buffs, especially in Horde, which I am happy about. We complained for the first few operations that they weren't really cutting it in Horde, and to TC's credit, they have flipped the script on that and really made them viable characters. So Blade Dancer, this 50% melee damage or bleed kill up to 200 seconds. This is going to be beast, especially if you use this with Venom Blade and Brawler moving around with Lonnie using a melee build, which you should be. This is going to be beast. Added cards Energy Surge, which gives 6 stem per 0.5 seconds when 10 meters away from an energy tap, which is good on a small map like Overload because once you get into the later waves, you're always going to be around an energy tap. So you're pretty much going to get stem every half second, which is, yes, as good as it sounds, provided you're within the energy taps. We already saw this card. This card was revealed in one of the updates and then removed, so we already knew this was coming. Added card Brutal Claw, which increases claw damage 60% at level 6. This is going to be great. She starts with a claw. She's going to get 60% extra damage with the claw, which is one of the best weapons. This is a good card for Lonnie and Horde. And also, if you think about how many elite drones are in certain escape maps, so you can use this in that too. Added 30% melee damage resistant to Blade Master passive. Didn't they already change her? Didn't she get healing, I think, on melee hits or melee hits or melee kills or something like that? This seems like kind of a nerf to her passive. Increase bleeding melee damage per from 100 to 150 level 10. This is to go in line with her card. I think her card in Escape goes to 150, 160%. So this goes in line with that. As I said, Scorpio Squad getting some big buffs. Mac really needed it. I'm really happy about that. Lonnie, they're really going to make her worth it going around meleeing the crap out of everybody. And if you want to sit back, you have Brutal Claw now to really do some damage with it. So, Clayton. Reduce damage of Gunner's Mulcher Mastery from 120 to 80%. I don't like this. They really emphasize buffing the Mulcher, giving him a Mulcher to where it would, in Clayton's hands, outperform the Tri-Shot, and now you nerf it by 40%. I don't really agree with this. I know Clayton's pretty OP, but this is a little too much for me. We'll see. I'll see it in action, but I don't really like this. Reduce the ultimate cooldown multiplier per hit on Heavy Charger from 0.0017 to 14. We already knew this was coming. I'm okay with this. If you've seen any videos on Gears Insight, my man, shameless plug, Neon Velocity's Gears Insight. I did a video on one of the playthroughs where I shot a boss, I think it was a carrier, with a Tri-Shot, and you could see just how fast the ultimate came back. So this kind of lowers the multiplier just a little bit. I get it. You could get your ultimate back instantly. It's still going to be pretty quick, but this maybe was needed. Other than that, no real touches to Clayton, which I'm actually kind of surprised. Coleslaw. Added card Scorcher Mastery, which increases Scorcher damage 70%. Cole already had a card that gives him extra burn damage. We already knew the Scorcher was coming. This is big. He is going to be a beast with the Scorcher. Added card Fuel Tanks, which increases Scorcher ammo capacity 120%. So he gets over double ammo capacity. Gets 70% extra Scorcher damage on top of his burn damage if all that stacks. Reduce melee resistant damage on Thashball Pro card from 70 to 60. Reduce damage resistance of inner fire. I think these were the ones that were going to be in that update, which we talked about with Foz and the engineer perks that didn't get done. They're being done now. Damage dash cards getting nerfed. Increased burn and damage from 60 to 100%. Pretty big buff. So, and change the assault rifle damage perk to damage, overall damage perk. So Cole is going to be a beast with the Scorcher. This gives you options with Cold, not just to run around and do a melee build with this damage perk. Obviously, with the Scorcher, you can kind of do your own thing. You don't have to run around and melee everything. You still can. I mean, he's going to be hit a little hard. This was to combat him being borderline, well, pretty much he was invincible when he had his ult charged. So, pretty good things for Coltrane. For Lizzie, for the pilot class, surprised by this, added the Scorcher to the Silverback, which equips the Scorcher to the Silverback that deals over double damage, 120% damage. So, actually does more damage than Coltrane does. Technically not if you factor in this 100%. He'll do 170% damage, basically. So, rename Sisters to the End to Wingman to generalize it. I skipped over this one. Increased damage of Enforcer from 60 to 70. Whatever. I don't know anybody that uses this card. It's kind of worthless. Nobody uses the Enforcer. It is what it is. Jackpot, as you know, isn't getting changed. We already knew that. Added card Sacrifice, which revives teammates from within 30 meters when dying as a hijack unit. So now if you run off into the crowd and your hijacked enemy gets killed, you revive the teammates within 30 meters. This is at level 6, obviously. Every new card, they show the stat at level 6. Added card Rampage, which deals 70% bleeding damage when attacking as a hijack enemy. This makes Jack a formidable use now. Using his ult on the offensive. Usually when I use his ult, I hijack an enemy and then run out there and detonate it in the middle of a crowd and explode and kill what I can, depending on what I take over. This adding bleeding damage is pretty beast. Like if you take over a Scion or even an elite drone. That's pretty good. Change passive from killing your marked target, reduces cooldown, these worthless passives that we used to have. Do teammates deal 50% extra damage to your stun beam target? That's pretty interesting. I actually just reread this. Your stun beam target, the person that you're targeting, will deal 50% extra damage. That's actually really interesting. And this is his passive. That's a real interesting change. Replaced HP regen perk with ultimate cooldown. Yeah. This is to get you to use his hijack more to use these cards. Reduced multiplier of his optimizer from 170 to 150. So it goes back to what it was before we had level 6 cards. Yeah. Is what it is. I don't really have... that just is what it is. So, Dill, mechanic. Added card Bloody Shrapnel, which causes trackers to deal 120% bleeding damage. Wow. I knew they were going to do something with his ult because it is just absolutely worthless. I don't know if deal bleeding damage is really worth it. This does a little bit over double its base damage. For 5 bleed, is bleeding to do 5 ticks. I don't really see it because, I mean, if you use it and it detonates on trackers or juvies or whatever, it's going to kill them anyway, so it's really not going to do bleed. And to be honest, on Master, it doesn't even tickle a lot of enemies, and the bleed isn't really going to move the bar that far for that. So, and plus, if you're an engineer, you're not going to be really using this card versus using some of his other ones. I like the idea. I like trying here, but I don't really see this moving the bar at all. Adding card Personal Defense, which increases damage 6% per hit with the Enforcer up to 100%. This will be useful in Escape. This will be pretty useful in Escape. I like this. This I don't know. We'll see. I doubt it'll be used that much in Horde. The perks that we talked about: Repair Cost, Repair Speed, Fortification Damage, Fortification Health. These two right here would be really good. Fortification Health, he already gets 75% Fortification Health. You really shouldn't be using that. Increased damage of Mechanics, Custom Robotics card from 30 to 60. So he uses, DB weapons will now get 60% damage. That'd be pretty good with this Enforcer card. But Why are you going to be running these two cards in Horde? You'd mainly be running these in Escape. I kind of wanted a little bit more for Dell. They promised they would change up to give him some kind of combat cards for Escape. I haven't seen it. Maybe next time. JD. I was a little surprised by this. Added card Bullet Boost, which gives 50% extra ballistic damage per explosive or bleed kill up to 200%. Wow. This is pretty interesting. And then I realized why they did this. Increased bleeding damage from 25 to 30. Okay. And then I kept reading. Changed passive from every 6 headshot drops ammo, which was worthless, to mark up to 5 targets, and marks last twice as long. This is Beast. This is Beast with his ult. Because as you know, his artillery drops on marked target. You have to mark a target to drop artillery. Now he can mark 5 targets and it lasts longer. If you mark 5 targets and artillery drops on all of them, if that does work, that's going to be OP. Change behavior of explosive launcher capacity from double explosive launcher ammo to carry 8 additional grenades. That is when I realized why they added Bullet Boost, gave him his bleeding back, or a little bit higher bleed, changed his passive, and then I saw it here. You will not be able to carry double Lancer GLs, double boom, double drop, double everything. You're now going to be able to carry 8 additional grenades, which is what he was able to carry, I think, 5 grenades additional. So, yeah, you're only going to spawn with 3 GLs and 3 booms. And then renamed his launcher capacity to Grenade Satchel. So he's basically going to be the soldier class from Gears 4. Added card Gambit, which allows 6 additional grenade traps. So you can plant 6 additional grenades. You can plant 8 grenades now, which, yes, makes him the soldier class. Pretty beast. This card should have been added for Sarah Connor. There's no way around it. This card needed to be added to Sarah Connor since she has the blast radius and damage. But this is to compensate for, yeah. JD gets nerfed. JD gets nerfed. Renamed Daddy's Boy to Inspire to generalize it so it's not tied to a certain name. Marcus, thank goodness for this one. Increase ultimate duration from 10 to 20 seconds. Okay. Change behavior of rifle feedback from rifle hits. Increase living legend time. As you know, rifle hits extend the time that you could extend it for the duration of a 50-wave match. To ultimate duration increased by 100%. So it is just a flat rate. It just doubles it. So if you're using this card, his ult will last 40 seconds. Which I'm assuming this is at level 6. That's it. If you have the card at level 6, his ult will last 40 seconds and it's over. It will not be extended by anything else. Thank you. Because I have grown tired of the Marcus-led lobbies. And this is big. So you can use it for a full wave. Have everybody line up with you. It doesn't matter who takes the kills, because it can't be extended any further anyway. You can use it for that wave, and then that's it. It'll wipe a wave, and then that's the way it should. That's the way it's intended. He still doesn't have to reload during his ult. He still gets actives. He still gets automatic headshots. So the only thing that's nerfed is this. I think this is big. I think this is nice. This is what was needed for Marcus. Obviously, rename rifle feedback to focus. I am very happy about this. Marcus is in a good place now with this. Paddock, no real change. And replaces ultimate cooldown with precision rifle damage. I like this. Foz has this. This is a good change. I think a lot of people in the forums asked for this. I'm okay with this. His ult comes back pretty quickly. Anyway, he spawns with a Marksa. Give him this. That's pretty good. Cat gets the perks, which we talked about for the other ones. Renamed Halo to Regenerative Field. That's it. That's it for... They did the same thing with Emil. Halo to Regenerative Field, because you can be any character. They're not based around Halo characters. This is to generalize that card. I'm very disappointed in this. They didn't do anything for the DLC characters. Renamed Dark Fate the Team Up, Post-Human the Melee Rush. This is because of the Terminator references to these. And that's it. There is nothing for the DLC characters. I think this is a massive swing and a miss on that. I think they could have done something to really not make them pay to win, but bump them up. At least give them perks. Change their perks to bump them up. This shows that there is a refusal to change them, and that's a design choice. That is what it is. I'm just disappointed in that. Overall, for the balance changes, some really good stuff. The Marcus is great. The Lizzie, the Coltrane, the Mac, the Lonnie, the Keegan, except for the ammo capacity perk. All of that's great. The JD's getting nerfed. Kate with the restriction to laceration, that's pretty big. We'll see how it plays out come Tuesday. So, we're not done. There's plenty more here. PvE challenges. Rolling out a variety of Horde and Escape challenges to make up the action. For Horde, we're introducing the Daily Challenge. Each day, a different map will be chosen as the Daily Challenge, featuring a unique set of mutators and completion rewards. They've amped up the role of mutators, introducing new types. Fun, your bobblehead, zero gravity, confetti headshots. Helpful, increased headshot damage, increased player stopping power. Challenging, aggressive enemies, only health regen and cover. So basically the ones from the campaign, it looks like. Most of these. This is very welcome. This is a welcome change. We're also adding even more mutators in the next title update. In Escape, we're giving you two options to play. The Daily Hive, which is great, grants special rewards for players who beat previous hives. The Featured Hive, which they've had for 7 days versus the 21 days that it was in Operation 4, and challenges you to beat preset par times to earn even bigger rewards. This is a nice change. I really like this. The Daily Hive, the Featured Hive, and they give you a bar time to set, and you, instead of having the top one, it was 5%, 10%, now you have to beat a time, and if you beat it, you get the rewards. This is a nice change for Escape. All new PvE challenges will be playable in private lobbies. Thank you, Jesus, for this. Thank you, Michael Shannon, I should say. Thank you. Rewards includes class XP, coins, skill cards, legendary skill cards. Why wouldn't it be legendary unless that's just a unique reward? Also, players can earn more skill cards just for playing the daily and featured maps up to a maximum limit. So, if you don't know, the featured hives each week have a number of cards you can get. Every time a new hive's introduced, you have like 15, 30 cards. Extra cards you can get per reward, and then once you hit that, that's it. Can't get any more. I'm curious if that will reset each featured hive, or if once you max it out, that's it. You're done. I'm interested for the clarification on that. Both the daily and featured hives will pull from previously released hives, and then you're hit with the big Y, and here it is. Going forward, we aren't adding any new hives. This was a very tough call for us. We know how important adding more traditional 5v5 maps are, and now the team can laser focus on creating and delivering what you want. I know that versus maps were of the high priority. I just hate that it had to be at expense of the tile maps. There's always a trade-off. There's always a compromise. I get it from a design issue. It's just very frustrating because I feel like this is the end of Escape. I think Escape was already starting to, I don't want to say die off, but I think that this is it. Most of the time you see it, it's mostly the same surge clock, speed runs, card farmings, and this isn't going to change anything. Now you're not introducing any new waves to play. Outside of these, which would be fun. You're not introducing any new maps. It's very frustrating. I know that the versus crowd, this is why we have the character changes. This is why we have the maps. I just hate that it had to. First of all, I'm really glad that new maps are coming. It's big for versus. It's big for Horde. I just hate that it had to come at the expense of Escape. And I hope that Escape can live on. I hope that this isn't the end. I know Michael said that they were going to kind of go back to the drawing board with it. And I hope that there's more stuff planned, but I can't help but feel like this is the end for it. And if it is, I hate that. So your PvE patch notes, we already kind of glaze over this. Remove restriction of duplicates, decouple classes, we already knew. Double base damage of burning damage over time. They're going to make Cole really good here with the Scorcher. I'm just going to keep saying that. Burning damage over time now applies full damage immediately instead of requiring 5 stacks to achieve full damage. They're going to make the Scorcher beast. I got a feeling that thing's going to get nerfed in a title update. I think they want the Scorcher to be front and center for this, obviously. I just can't help but feel like something's going to get nerfed pretty quickly. This is probably going to get changed back. This one I think was going to be done originally. Increased fortification cost reduction from 10 to 15% to incentivize playing as an engineer or having an engineer. Adding a message that reminds players of carrying a lot of power. That's beast. They need this because you play in a game somebody has 30,000 power and it's like, deposit. Added an icon that appears over destroyed fortifications and TACCOM. Some of these are just various fixes. This one's interesting. Fixed issue with reflective shell Grenadier Mutator not working. I think this was an escape one. This is under Horde. So now, yeah, this is going to be in Horde now. Fixed issues in spawn energy by exploiting a location on harbor. Some minor little issues. Some little stuff here. Enemies reduce base health of Guardian Sentinel shields from 1600 to 1200. Thank you. It is unbearable trying to get those shields down sometimes. That's a welcome thing. Adjusted Matriarch's incoming freeze damage multiplier from 0.2 to 0.4. That's interesting too. That's an interesting change. I guess a lot of people freeze in the Matriarch. Increased damage players deal to Matriarch's weak spot by 25%. I can't help but feel like this is in response to the excruciating Matriarch battle on the Gears developer stream when Michael Shannon, when they could not kill the Matriarch. I feel like Michael said, you know what, screw this. She's getting nerfed. Thank you. That's all I can say, Michael. Thank you for this. Slightly increase the number of Sires, Mulcher Scions, and Dropshot Scions that can spawn at the same time. This should be interesting. I'm okay with this, though. I've said it before. Like, my thing with Horde is I don't really want spongy damage death dealers. I don't want the focus to be on that. Give me the focus on a Horde, an overwhelming amount of enemies. This increases some more aggravating ones, especially Mulchers, because they can down you instantly. I'm okay with this. I'm fine with this. Added the Scorcher and all the pistols to the Fabricator. Michael said this was going to happen, and obviously the Scorcher is going to be added. Curious to see how much it's going to cost, if it's going to be around 4,000. Here's a big one. The Fabricator can now take damage and be destroyed. When destroyed, the Fabricator cannot be used until it is revived for 4,000 power. Wow. So you will not be using the Fabricator to block spawn points because it will get destroyed. I am fine with this. I am okay with this. This is going to tick a lot of people off, but I think this is a good change. The only thing that bothers me is just like a stray boom, a stray anything just comes through, or Matriarch just barrels through, destroys the Fabricator, and you have teammates that are dead, and yeah, you can't revive them unless you got 4,000 power. And you gotta, that's going to be interesting. Little issue with escape. Just going to be fixed. That's good. And no mention of the long time delays when going into safe rooms. Curious about that. Adjusted health bonus. Looks like they lowered it by 5%. 5% increment. Power taps now spawn on wave 1 and 50 wave. Yes. I wonder if this means we're going to have 5 power taps now. So this is a welcome change. And as you know, big stream tonight with Michael Shannon. I may have to do like a follow-up update with questions that he answers. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of goodies. So, thoughts on this? As I scroll through this, you do not see any mention of scrapping duplicate cards. And that is very concerning to me because we have been asking for this feature since Operation 3, and actually probably before that. They said they were working on it. I hope that it's coming. I hope that it's just in here and it wasn't in these notes. I think that's a big miss if it's not. Also, no new hives or classes. They already said there was no new classes. This confirmed it. And as you can see, they confirmed no new hives. Very disappointing. I think that that's going to really, really kill Escape. Very, very disappointed about that. But I want to get you guys' reactions in the comments. Hit me on Twitter. What are your likes? What are your dislikes about this big PvE update? I want to hear it. I want to hear the back and forth. What did you hope was going to happen? What do you think of the character balancing? What do you think of duplicate classes? What do you think about the Fabricator being destructible now? So hit me up with it. If you haven't followed me on Twitter, it's at CheeseCutta. All one word, obviously. And if you like what you've heard, maybe drop me a like, drop me a follow here. So that's going to do it for me, guys. Hope you enjoyed the breakdown. And hey, Op 5's only a few days away. I'm thinking about really breaking into some more videos, some breakdowns, especially for Horde. Really like doing this stuff. So if the reaction for this is really good, then I think may go forward with it. So give me some feedback, guys, and I'll talk to you next time.